The hotel of 1,000 doors, rain lashed against the car windows when Marcus spotted the hotel emerging from the mist like an architectural mirage. The building stretched impossibly against the night sky, its facades folding at angles that defied Euclidean geometry. There were no signs, no name, just a structure that seemed to have grown organically from the earth, like a giant mushroom of stone and glass. The lobby greeted him with sepulchral silence. Crystal chandeliers hung from a ceiling that vanished into shadows, casting fragments of light that danced like restless spirit. The reception desk stood empty, but a golden key rested on the black marble with a tag that simply read Room Infinity. Marcus climbed the spiral staircase, his footsteps echoing in a hypnotic rhythm. The first floor's corridors stretched in both directions beyond what his eyes could reach, punctuated by identical dark wooden doors. Each bore a different numbersome in Roman numerals, others in symbols he didn't recognize, some that seemed to change when he wasn't looking directly at them. His room's door opened with a soft click. The interior was modest. A bed, a writing desk, a window showing only darkness. But it was the second door, in the opposite corner, that captured his attention. There was no reason for it to exist. The hotel's layout didn't allow for another room there. Curiosity conquered prudence. The door opened onto a tropical beach at midday. Hot, salty air flooded his lungs as he watched palm trees swaying under an impossible sun. He stepped back, closed the door, and when he opened it again, he found a Victorian library, with shelves rising to a vaulted ceiling, dusty books whispering secrets in dead languages. Fascination transformed into compulsion. Marcus began exploring systematically, discovering that each door in the corridor led to a different place. One opened onto a primordial forest where prehistoric creatures wandered among giant ferns. Another revealed a futuristic city of crystal towers beneath 3 alien moons. A third showed his childhood home, but empty, covered in dust, as if it had been abandoned for decades. Boughs dissolved into a mist of impossible discoveries. Marcus lost count of how many doors he had opened, how many worlds he had glimpsed. He began noticing disturbing patterns. Some doors showed distorted versions of places he knew. Others revealed scenarios that seemed extracted from his deepest nightmares. It was when he tried to return to his room that the hotel's true nature revealed itself. The corridor had changed. The doors that had been on his left were now on his right. The numbers had rearranged themselves in a sequence that made no sense. His doorroom, Infinity, simply wasn't there anymore. Panic began as a cold stab in his stomach. Marcus ran down the corridor, checking each door, but none led back to his original room. Worse still, the doors he had explored earlier now opened to completely different places. The tropical beach had become a frozen desert. The Victorian library was now an abandoned hospital where rusted gurneys lined up in infinite rows. The hotel was reconfiguring itself around him, like a living organism reacting to his presence. He climbed to the second floor, then the third, always finding more corridors, more doors, more impossibilities. Some floors had ceilings so low he had to crouch to walk. Others opened into vertiginous atriums where spiral staircases intertwined in fractal patterns. On one floor, all the doors were tiny, suitable for children. On another, there were monumental gates that required all his strength to open. The hotel's architecture seemed to obey its own laws, expanding and contracting according to an alien logic. Marcus began to suspect he wasn't simply lost, he was being digested, processed by an entity that disguised itself as a building. The doors began showing versions of himself. In one, he saw himself as a child, playing alone in a dark room. In another, he observed his own death, an old man in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines emitting monotonous beeps. A third door revealed multiple versions of himself, all trapped in identical corridors, all opening doors desperately, all realizing they had become part of the hotel's collection. The final realization came like a wave of frozen horror. He wasn't a guest. He was a specimen, a new addition to the infinite catalogue of realities the hotel collected. Each door he had opened wasn't a window to other worlds, but a trap, a hook that had caught him deeper in the building's impossible structure. Marcus stopped before a door he hadn't noticed before. Its surface was mirrored, reflecting not his image, but the corridor behind him, corridor that stretched infinitely, punctuated by 1,000 identical doors, by each awaiting the next curious traveler, who would get lost in the rain and find shelter in a hotel that had no name. His hand trembled on the handle. On the other side, he knew, was another corridor, other doors, other versions of himself, discovering that the only exit was to become part of the collection. The hotel sighed around him, satisfied with its newest acquisition.